So is this guy a complete idiot or an absolute genius? Let's find out. So for those of you that don't know, this guy, that guy, is Peter Dutton, who is the leader of the Liberal Party here in in Australia. Now, the Liberal Party are right-wing like Republicans. So he's our Mr. Tangerine Man. So this guy, I'm going to pose the question, is he an absolute genius or a complete idiot? Let's find out, because he is proposing nuclear power reactors across Australia. There's even going to be one about 200 k's down the road from me. Now, he's proposing that these are SMRs, small modular reactors. I should just say here that the reason for making this video is in WA, we've called a state election for March the 8th. I won't even be in the state, but it's compulsory to vote or you get fined. But come May, we've got to have had a federal election as well. So he's sprouting this as his part of his policy. Now, basically, he's a total idiot for suggesting those, but he's an absolute genius for suggesting those, because it's going to take, well, 10 to 15 years to get them going, because across Australia, the federal government has banned nuclear reactors. Each state, certainly here in WA, has banned nuclear reactors. So he's got to get the legislation changed in order to actually even consider building them. Then we've got the planning and the construction, the finances. So why is he doing this? But before we get into the why, let's just have a look at some figures. Because Mr. Potato Head, that's this guy. No, sorry, wrong guy. This no, this guy, Peter Dutton. Yes. Now, he's saying once you get these nuclear reactors going, your power bills are going to be going down. Well, all the the economists that have been doing all these studies are basically saying that the average power bill will go up by nearly 700 Australian dollars per person. Now, that's because the cost of building these, now you've got what's called the LCOE, levelized cost of energy, which is building, lifespan, decommissioning, and so on. Solar panels, $30 to $50 per, I think it's per megawatt hour. Wind, 30 to 60. Nuclear, up to 120. I think it's going from 60 to 120. Yeah, okay. So it's twice the cost to build these things and keep them going for their lifetime and then decommission them. And of course, at the end of that, you've then got all that radioactive shit to get rid of. But if we take a look at current nuclear reactors that are being built around the country. Now, I've got a few here. In the US, okay, they've had lots of cost overruns and time overruns. Now, there's an expansion going on in Georgia, the Vogtle expansion. That has seen costs escalate from 14 billion US to 31 billion US. And in South Carolina, initially they sunk $9 billion into it before its cancellation because they just cost too much. In Europe, well, Europe, that's UK, the Hinkley Point C is cost overruns. Let me have a look here. I've got the figures here. It was due for completion in 2025. What year are we in now? Yeah, but it's been delayed until 2029 or beyond. Yeah, okay. And its cost overrun has gone from so many billions of pounds, 18 billion pound, up to 46 billion pounds. Yeah, they're not cheap, are they? And while I got your attention, click that like and subscribe button below. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Look, he keeps saying, oh, you can build these SMRs very quickly. Yeah. All they're saying is with these SMRs is that the building can be as quick as 3 to 5 years, but it won't make very much electricity. So are there any SMRs currently active in the world today? Well, apparently Argentina has got a CAREM reactor, which was one of the first SMRs to go under construction. It's expected to be completed this year. Fingers crossed. China has got a high temperature reactor with what's called a pebble bed module. Now that's in operation in the Shandong province. So that was one of the first commercial SMRs worldwide. They've got another SMR in the Linglong 1 being constructed in Zhangjiang, in the Hainan province. That's not going to be completed till next year. In the US, there are currently no SMRs under construction. NuScale Power has got what they call their Voyager SMR design, and that's received certification from the US Nuclear Regulatory Commission. But the planned power project in Idaho was cancelled due to rising costs. Yeah. Westinghouse has also got plans for an AP300 SMR, which they're going to start construction in 2030. Canada, you've got GE Hitachi, who's got a technology partner, Darlington New Nuclear Project. Now, that could be North America's first SMR. In the UK, Rolls-Royce are developing an SMR design, and they say that can be built in Australia within 4 years, but they haven't finished designing it yet. Okay. Russia have got a couple of SMRs. Now, these are floating nuclear power plants. So they're the first and only marine-based SMRs in operation. Poland plan to build 24 GE Hitachi reactors at 6 sites across the country. That's what they're planning on doing. Whether it all actually happens or not is a different kettle of fish, isn't it? Now, if you could have a quick look down in the description, I've got a Ko-fi page, which if you could help me out there would be great, and my Tesla referral and a few other things. Go have a look. Now, I've got to mention here, Bill Gates has got a natrium reactor. Now, this is an innovative nuclear power plant that is using sodium as the coolant. So it's a sodium-cooled fast reactor, which, unlike conventional nuclear reactors that use water as a coolant, this uses liquid sodium. So it works at lower pressures and higher temperatures. Now, apparently, the initial model can have 345 megawatts. Yeah, megawatts. But it can be boosted to about 500 megawatts. That's only half a gigawatt, people. And it can only be boosted to the half gigawatt for a few hours. An interesting story about this natrium reactor is that it uses a molten salt energy storage system, because when you're making all this and it doesn't get used, you've either got to try and shut it down or store it. You need some form of battery, and this has got a molten salt energy storage system. So thermal energy is stored and then it can release and generate electricity for demand peaks and so on. So look, I mean, this sounds lovely. Let's wait and see what happens with it, shall we? So Mr. Peter Dutton wants to put nuclear reactors around Australia. So let's just have a look at how much renewables Australia has installed only over the last 5 years. So 2020, 7 gigawatts. Now this is rooftop solar out farms and wind, so on. There aren't any specific figures for 2021, but looking at that 2020 with 7 gigawatts and 2022 with almost 5 gigawatts. Now that was 2.25 gigawatts of large scale renewable and 2.7 gigawatts from rooftop solar. So that came up to a smidge under 5 gigawatts. 2023 saw 5.3 gigawatts. Rooftop solar, 3.1 gigawatts. Large scale plants, 2.2 gigawatts. 2024, another 3.1 gigawatts of rooftop solar, and between 2.5 and 3 gigawatts of large-scale renewables. That brings it up to possibly over 6 gigawatts if the large-scale projects are completed on time, and I haven't got the figures on that. But if we actually take a look at that, it's almost 23 gigawatts of renewable solar and wind, not nuclear, have been installed over the last 5 years. So that, if you look at your SMRs, they can put out up to 300 megawatts, not gigawatts, that's 0.3. So you've got to have a lot of SMRs to equate to that. Now, the figure I've worked out here was 76 small to medium reactors to match the 23 gigawatts, because they can only put out 300 to megawatts. It's 0.3. Even if it was 0.5, that's still over 45 SMRs. If you take the new scale Voyager plant, that's 12 modules in one. You'd still need 25 of those to get out the equivalent. And the cost would be astronomical. We've already got these renewables in place and more are going in all the time. So why is the leader going on about this? Here's the genius part. He's going on about these nuclear reactors. He knows full well that the country can't afford them. The bureaucracy to make them happen is just too much because we've already got bans in place. But what he's doing is taking the interest away from solar and wind, and he's going to try and promote his fossil fuel buddies. we keep seeing this gas-led recovery. Oh, for fuck's sake. Gas-led. No, we don't need gas. We keep going on about we've just passed more gas projects up in the northwest. Why? We just need to do the same for renewables. But this guy is a genius because he's getting everybody, including me, talking about his nuclear reactors to power the country. That ain't going to happen for another 20 years if you're lucky. And we're all talking about that. And he's going to use his gas and fossil fuel buddies to keep things going as they are at the moment and stop all these solar and wind projects. Clever little bugger, isn't he? So there's so many people are going, oh, nuclear, it's going to be good. No, it's not. It's not. Accidents happen. Now, if a wind turbine has an accident, no one's around, it'll just burn up or fall to the ground or what have you. If a solar panel breaks, well, you just replace it. But if a nuclear power plant goes wrong, then you've got a major ecological disaster. Just look at Chernobyl. Just look at Fukushima in Japan. The problems that have resulted from those two. Just those two. There have been others. So we don't want nuclear power plants. But as I said, this guy's a genius for bringing them up because everybody's talking about it and they're not actually talking about the real thing, solar and wind. As I said, over the last 5 years, we've installed 20-something gigawatts of wind and solar panels. If we do that over the next 5 years, I believe then we will come to about 90% renewable generation in Australia. Some states, like South Australia, frequently do 100% on their wind and solar and then export it. To me, this is the way to go. I don't know, what do you think? So make some comments below. Do you think this guy's a absolute genius or a total nincompoop? As I said, I think the guy's a genius for bringing this shit up. Everybody's talking about it and they're not talking about the real thing, which is solar and wind, renewable. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And while you're down there in that comment section, don't forget there's that like and subscribe, thank you. And down in the description section, there's links to my Ko-fi page, Tesla referral, and a few other things. If you need some goodies, you've got some discounts there by using my code Grumpy Old Man. So go and take a look. Thank you very much. Every little will help me out. I don't think I actually make anything on those purchases that you make, except for the Tesla referral. And you really got to have a look and see what you're going to get, because it chops and changes. Not all that long ago, it was 1,500 Australian discount. Now it's $350. Who knows what it'll be next week. Anyway, go and have a quick look. Thank you very much. See you all very soon.